Here we want to evaluate this function at a first. So what we're going to do is just plug in a for x. So I have negative a plus a squared plus 2. Then we want to evaluate that same function at a plus h. So instead of the x's, we're going to put in a plus h. So I have negative a plus h squared plus 2. Okay, we want to distribute this and expand this as much as possible. So we're going to distribute the negative to both. So I have negative a minus h. And then I actually have to FOIL out a plus h. So on the side somewhere, you could do a plus h, a plus h. So a times a is going to give us a squared. A times h is ah. H times a is the same thing. It's ah or ha, but they're the same, so let's write it as ah. And then h times h is h squared. So if we combine our like terms together, I'm just going to bring this over here. We have a squared plus 2ah plus h squared, and then we have plus 2. Okay, so now what we want to do, this big equation on the bottom, that is the difference quotient, which you'll see later on in calculus. You're going to use it for derivatives. But right now, all we're doing is what we've been doing. So we're going to take the f of a plus h that we got from the previous step, and we're going to subtract the f of a from the first step, and then we're going to divide it by h. So we have negative a minus h plus a squared plus 2ah plus h squared plus 2. And we're going to subtract negative a plus a squared plus 2. And we're going to divide that all by h. So what we're doing here is we're going to make sure that we distribute the negative. So right now, the f of a plus h is going to just stay the same. And what I'm going to do is distribute this negative. So that becomes a plus a. That becomes a minus a squared. That becomes a minus 2. All over h. So we're going to try to combine like terms on the top. So we have a negative a, but we also have a positive a. So these a's are going to cancel out. The a squared and the negative a squared are going to cancel out. The 2 and the negative 2 are going to cancel out. So what we have left is a negative h plus 2ah plus h squared over h. So what we can do to simplify this a little bit is to factor out the h in the top. So we'll have a negative 1 plus 2a plus h all over h. And then we can cancel out the h's. So our final answer would be negative 1 plus 2a plus h. Okay, so we're going to look at another one that's like this. Okay, some more practice. So what we want to do is we want to find each piece first. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do f at a, because that's the easiest one to do. So I'm going to plug in a for x. So I get negative 2a plus 5. Then I'm going to do f of a plus h. So I have 2 times a plus h plus 5. So that gives me 2a plus 2h plus 5. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these all together. So I'm going to take the f of a plus h. So that was 2a plus 2h plus 5. And then I'm going to... Oh, I forgot a negative. Sorry. Negative... Oops, that should be minus. That should be minus. So we're going to take that, and then we're going to subtract the negative 2a plus 5, and we're going to put it all over h. So we get negative 2a minus 2h plus 5. We're going to distribute the negative. So plus 2a minus 5 over h. We're going to combine like terms. So the negative 2a and the positive 2a are going to cancel out. 5 and negative 5 cancel out. So we have negative 2h over h. You can cancel out the h's, and you end up with just negative 2. Okay, so the steps for these are always the same. You're going to plug in the a, you're going to plug in the a plus h, and then you're going to subtract the 2 and divide by h. Okay, so now in this one, f of a is going to be negative 4a squared minus 5a minus 2. And then f of a plus h, we're going to have negative 4 times a plus h squared minus 5 times a plus h minus 2. The a plus h squared, we want to make sure that we FOIL that. So we're going to have negative 4 times a squared plus 2ah plus h squared. We're going to, I'll distribute that in a minute. Okay, we want to distribute everything. So this is going to be negative 4a squared minus 8ah minus h squared minus 4h squared. Distribute the negative 5, so you get negative 5a minus 5h minus 2. Okay, so that is our f of a plus h. So now we're going to take that and we're going to subtract the f of a. So it's negative 4a squared minus 8ah minus 4h squared minus 5a minus 5h minus 2. And now I'm going to subtract negative 4a squared minus 5a minus 2 and put it all over h. Okay, so we're going to combine, or we're going to distribute. So we end up with negative 4a squared. So all this is staying the same. Okay, what's going to change now is we're going to distribute the negative into the parenthesis. So that becomes a positive 4a squared. This is going to become a positive 5a. And this is going to become a positive 2. All over h. So the negative 4a squared, positive 4a squared is not. Negative 5a, positive 5a. Negative 2, positive 2. So when you do this, the a's should always cancel out. If it has an AH, it's not going to, if it has an H in it still, it's not going to cancel. But any constant terms usually we're going to cancel out. And any values that have a's in them without the h. So now what we have is negative 8ah minus 4h squared minus 5h all over h. So we're going to factor out the h in the top. And we have negative 8a minus 4h minus 5 over h. The h's are going to cancel. And then you end up with just negative 8a minus 4h minus 5. Okay, so it seems complicated. You just have to keep everything separate. You do f of a, you do f of a plus h, and then you're just going to subtract f of a plus h minus f of a. Combine all your like terms, divided by h. Okay, usually if you have h's in the top, you'll be able to factor them out, cancel them out, and then see what you're left with.